Okay, I've been here several times. The last video I made, that I started out with this, in episode 1 of Haunted Youngstown, the video just disappeared off the finished product, and nobody knew what the heck was going on. I couldn't find it anywhere. Now I'm in front of this building that we talked about at the corner of Madison and Elm, and as I walk through it again, the front of the building, I get a sense of nervousness. Across the street, I take a look at the old fire station, which is another story within itself. But this building here holds lots of mysteries and lots of evil entities that just do not add up. I feel as though I've been here before, but at this moment I couldn't recount it until I did the last video. It's a very tall building. It's got 8 apartments in it, maybe more, several storefronts, a basement, and a bunch of other things. The most important thing about this building is this. Lots of people have lived here in the apartments. This is the adjacent parking lot behind the building. And again, as I walk through here, I see things and feel things that just rile me up. They agitate me. They agitate the hell out of me. Why they agitate me so much, I haven't been able to figure out yet. But as I look at this building and I look at the top floors up there, I see things and feel things that just aren't right. I just don't know how to confirm what's going on, other than when I did talk to the owner of this building several months ago. I could tell someone's been in there. There's an open window right there, which is not good. Nobody should go into this building. Zero, nobody. It is extremely dangerous. It is extremely haunted. And it riles me why somebody would even go in here. Let me point the camera to what I'm talking about. Here is the back of the building, which I've been walking. That little opening up on the far right is something within itself. Why this window is open is beyond me. It tells me somebody might have been in here. Now, as I stand over here, standing on this cliff, this cutout part, and all of a sudden there is wooden boards across here. Somebody has been working in this building. You can somewhat see in some of the storefronts, and I don't like what I'm seeing. Obviously, I figured out why this window was left open. There's no heat on. They were throwing stuff out of the building. Maybe they were working on it again. The last time I talked to somebody about this building, they told me in one of the bedrooms upstairs that they found an old suitcase under one of the beds up there. And when they brought this old suitcase up and opened it up, there was 2 ventriloquist dummies in it from the late 1800s, early 1900s. And that is just crazy. That alone opened up a can of worms. That alone was the problem. That alone released more of the negative entities that are running around rampant in this building. I was also informed that there was crews working here 6 or 8 months ago that had to leave. They had to leave because of all the crap that was going on in this building. Noises, voices, the whole 9 yards. They were all going on in this building at the time. And the crew had to leave. I inquired about the ventriloquist dummies, and they wouldn't tell me what they did with them. Anybody who wants to investigate this building, I'm telling you right now, stay out, because it's not for you. This building is not for you to investigate. It is extremely dangerous. It is extremely haunted, and I myself
Update. Important update. I come to realize that I was in this building back in 1967 with my father. The reason we were there, I think I was 10 years old in 1967. My uncle had a novelty store there, and my father would pick up packages for him and bring them there, and help him set up the place and stock shelves and so on. But the most eerie thing about this is I did not make the connection until when I edited this clip. Well, I remember going there. It was always on a Saturday or a Sunday, because the novelty store was only open a couple days a week, and he sold all kinds of different things, imports. But to make a long story short, every time we went by this building, I felt sick to my stomach. And also, when we'd go in this building and I'd spend time there, I always had these panic attacks. I got real sweaty. I got nervous. I just didn't realize what was going on. Why every time I went there, I got these terrible feelings. Well, now the connection is made. And that was many years ago. Probably, to be exact, it was 54 years ago was the last time I was in this building. And to make a long story short, it still feels horrible in there. But I thought this update would be very important for you. So, there you have it. Well, here you have it. The old log cabin. The old log cabin here was built around, I think, 1814. It's nestled in the hillside of the north shore of Lake Glacier. It was originally from the Rocky River area. It was moved to the preset location around the time of the Civil War and was purchased by physician Dr. Timothy Woodbridge. He owned the cabin and used it for a medical office for many years. He eventually had to run down to Brazil for something and leased the cabin out to another doctor whose name I can't bring up, but he was not as ethically sound as Dr. Woodbridge was. Many things were taken care of right here in the homes of people or right here in the cabin, and as they took care of these things, some of the things just were not very ethical. As I walk around the cabin, I have a sense of dread. I have a feeling of, I just feel really bad. I overdubbed this because my feelings were overwhelming, and I had to say it like I felt it. This place is extremely scary and haunted. I've been around many, many horrible spirits in my life, and this is some of the worst. And most of them, I would have to venture to say, are actually people that not that Dr. Woodbridge treated, but maybe the other physician that he rented it out to while he was in Brazil. As you look around the cabin, there's very many buried things, a variety of things that come to mind as I walk around, and a variety of different feelings of just a evil presence or a malevolent presence or unsettled spirits that walk around here, who probably have passed on in the care of the second doctor, and maybe have passed on in the cabin. But they are many roaming here. I could feel them very strong during the day, and I can only imagine how strong they are at night when the veil between our mortal life and afterlife is a lot thinner. As I walk around this place, I also feel different things. I wrote many notes down as I walked around here the first time, and mysteriously they have disappeared. This cabin was remodeled in 1934 as the park took over for gatherings and parties and so on. But I would not want to go on record as saying that many things have happened since then. Many things that you would just not want to happen. Things where people were getting injured for no reason at all, children falling, and so on and so forth. But there you have it. And I'm going to go back to the live feed shortly. But as I say, it is safe during the day, and at night.
And are still searching around for their purpose or for a reason. And many of them really don't even know they passed on. Now, I'm going to take one last look at the cabin from here, and move on. The original chimney, original lumber. There's been a couple little patches here and there, and it's just breathtaking. It's a beautiful cabin. You won't see me hanging out in there very often, but I'm not afraid of any entity or any spirit, and I welcome the conversation with them, and we'll see what happens. So thank you. As I look through here, many people have come to their demise playing on these rocks that are all over the place here that encircle the bridge. And the sad part is that these were needless accidents that happened. Many broken arms, many broken bones, many cracked skulls, many deaths that are not recorded. These are all by what I feel of what is going on here. This is very much so a very fact of where I'm going with this video, about how haunted Youngstown really is and the amount of malevolent spirits that are around here. And most of these spirits met a untimely demise and have nowhere else to go because they're kind of stuck here, because either they don't know they're dead and they don't know where to go, or they don't know what to do. Especially this shelf here, which is very big, and it's pretty cool as it cantilevers out into the main pathway here. And if you desire to go underneath it, well, it's a big clump of rocks there, but at the same time you have to wonder how safe it is in here. I myself have to think about all this and the strange feelings I get when I look at situations like this in this park. I remember being here, the last time I was here it was 40 years ago, 1974-ish, and what has happened between now and then and way before the first time I was here is incredible. It still makes me wonder about this park, every way, shape, or form. I have to take a video of this. I just came upon this. It's been down here, God knows how many years. There's a big log in the waterway, and up there is an open box that in reality is a water throughway for lots of water that has been through here. And again, my feelings are very, very nervous. My feelings are very out of place because of all the stuff that has gone on down here. It just really could be frightening to most spiritualists, because they really don't have any concept of what's going on in here and how many spirits have, how many human people, oh, that's really silly, how many people have met their demise here. And it's terrible. It's just plain terrible what has happened here. And, we can still hear this day trees falling in the woods. And God forbid if anybody's there to experience it. This would not be a good thing at all. Not good at all.
This is another part of the rock formations that I have explored. This was actually the beginning of where I started on the rock formations, but this is going to be prerequisite to getting to the Steel Bridge, or the Cinderella Bridge, the Fairy Tale Bridge. It has a number of names, but as I look through this area here, I'm really shook up. The feelings I'm feeling here are just absolutely, positively horrible. There are so many things that can happen right here, and I have a feeling of extreme dread by many people that have been hurt here or were careless and so on and so forth. I have to say so on and so forth because I can't say what I really like to say on this because it's not very good. But you can see the names on the rocks and stuff like that. Some of those names have been in there for 60, 70, 80 years. It's very interesting. I thought I'd bring this point out to show everybody as we move into the actual steel bridge part that I think that you'll find very, very interesting. Stay with us. Finally, we come to the all-famous suspension bridge, which is the oldest bridge in Mill Creek Park. It measures about 85, 86 feet long, maybe 32 feet wide. It has been called the Silver Bridge, the Iron Bridge, the Cinderella Bridge, the Castle Bridge, the Walt Disney Bridge, by whatever name it's known. This bridge is truly a romantic spot for people. This bridge was built in 1895 and spans Mill Creek, connecting to the east and west sides of the park, following the wishes of Olney Rogers to create a peaceful park romance. The bridge itself was designed by Charles Fowler of the Youngstown Bridge Company, and the suspension bridge is the oldest bridge. And it is very, very
I'm at the Steel Bridge,
interesting,
or the Cinderella
to say
Bridge,
the
and there's
least.
a pathway that goes down here. I'm going to head down it real quick. Well, in a controlled fashion.
As I head down here, I'm really beside myself. I'm feeling so many different feelings, feeling so many different smells and even tastes. As I look at this bridge, I am getting sick to my stomach down here. I smell dead. When I smell, it would be like you smelling roadkill. When I smell that, it means very bad things. Of course, this is not the original bridge. The metal is original. Some of the beams are. I could see the one that's been replaced. You could see it. The pilaster in the middle has been replaced. And several other things have been replaced on this bridge. A very, very romantic spot for weddings and so on and so forth. But there's a creepy side to this bridge. A very creepy side that nobody knows. Since its inception and when it was built in 1895, there has been a lot of activity on this bridge that there are no records of whatsoever. There are many things about this bridge that is just ugly. Ugly, ugly. In a spiritual sense, the feelings I'm getting are very ugly. Hold on, I'm getting a... Okay, alright. I'm getting some spirit intervention here. It happens, I'm going to bring it up this time since we've been into this video in Mill Creek Park. And the fact of the matter is, there was a man here with his woman, Mary Lou Laughlin, I would think her name is. From what I understand, he's talking to me now. And the bad part is that they were down here in their coach. This had to be 1921. They were down here talking about their marriage. And the bad part is that at this time, she ran out of the carriage and ran to the bridge and jumped off the side of it. And as she jumped off the side of it, you got to remember, this is an old bridge, and the water level was a lot deeper. There wasn't all this sediment in there. And she was gone under and washed away and was never recovered. I feel bad for her. I'm not talking to her. I'm picking up something from her ex-fiancé at the time because he changed his mind about the marriage. But to make a long story short, everything was just a terrible ending. And that's one of many stories. I'll tell you what else I feel in this. When I went to edit the original video for version 2 of this, it has mysteriously disappeared with other parts of this video. That's why this part is dubbed in. As I arrived at the Pioneer Pavilion, it's one of the oldest structures in Youngstown, Ohio, constructed in 1821. This sandstone building served as a mill for carding and fulfilling wood. The building was later used as a storeroom for nearby Mill Creek Furnace, which is to the right of the sign where that you could see in this dub over because the energy was just too strong. To the right of the sign was the original Mill Creek Furnace, and they used to make iron out of iron ore there. And as I came right up to it, I could feel how much exactly was going on through there. I felt a tremendous amount of heat and a tremendous amount of burning and smelling, stuff like that. So I sent a picture of the Pioneer Pavilion to a spiritualist friend of mine in Kentucky. His name is Elliot Brudzinski. And he sent me back a video of what he was talking about, because he used to live here in Youngstown. And I'm going to play that video for you. And it's a video of Elliot Brudzinski. Well,
hey Pat, I'd also share with you some experiences I had at the Mill Creek Furnace. There is an entity that still haunts that building. I've seen it multiple times. I felt drawn to it driving by in the car. It's pretty easy to feel. I don't know if I get the sense that it's a person who was in charge or a foreman or the landowner. But near evening, when the park would be getting close to closing, I was actually at the furnace, and I actually saw an orb move through the building, come out the window, change from an orb that was about the size of a basketball into an outline of a human form. It actually expanded and walked across the cement patio there. We also were in the downstairs outside the building, knocked on the wooden door and said, hey, if you're in there, can you knock for us? And it knocked back twice. It doesn't really appear to be belligerent, and it seems to be almost like a caretaking spirit, but it's very pronounced, and I've seen it brightly colored orbs, outlines. I've seen it on the floor above in the center, and I've seen it at the very top level too. So that's another haunted place that I've actually experienced personally.
so there you have it from Elliot Brudzinski, renowned spiritualist from Youngstown, now residing in Kentucky. He brought up some important things about the Mill Creek Furnace, and that's the picture that's up right now. And it was extremely interesting. My take on a lot of that was somewhat different, a little more in depth. All the people, this is a pig iron smelter. In other words, they put iron ore in it, and they melt it down and make pig iron or iron out of it. To make a long story short, it was a extremely dangerous job where many people were hurt extremely bad, burned, maimed, and many have died there back in the early 1900s and late 1800s. Well, hey, hope you enjoyed this segment of Haunted Youngstown. We're going to move on now to Latterman's Mill, which is another story in itself. So, off to Latterman's Mill. Well, welcome to Latterman's Mill. It says on the sign that it was built by Ward and Beecher, but the reality is Lattermans were the third owners of the mill. It hasn't always been Latterman's Mill. It's been Latterman's Mill as far as, early 1900s. But it is a full functional mill, and it works great. As I walked around the mill, I found many things out about it that were just eerie, because if I look at this falls here, which has been reconstructed several times, and many men have died and fallen in there, and some were never found and others were, and there's several spirits walking around here at any given time, not necessarily very malevolent, but they can be pranksters, and that's for sure. Another thing I did notice is that there is a strange, eerie frequency around this whole thing when I'm around it. And I can tell, going back over the ages, as I look at the building and I look at the foundation and I look at the under rocks, that this has been here since the late 1700s under another name. Like I said, it's been owned by two other people before the Lattermans, and it's been remodeled and so on and so forth. But I don't find anything really chilling or frightening here, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it.
There's ducks down there.
As I look at the covered bridge, I know it's not the original bridge. But I do know this much. I feel a lot of bad energy here. As beautiful as something like this could be, it's really interesting, the bad energy of the people that have lost their lives here or tried to commit suicide. It's very interesting that I am still picking up these remnants of energy that is just outrageously crazy in its own sense. As I look around it, there's warning devices everywhere, for this is something that you should be really aware of when walking over here. It is extremely dangerous, and many people come here and play, and they end up in a bad situation. If I look at the bridge from here, I still feel many things. I still feel a lot of anguish, a lot of sorrow, and a lot of bad things that have happened here. Even as I look at this little rock formation, of course everybody doesn't really know, some do, that this whole area was built by glaciers millions of years ago, and then it was discovered. It used to be called, this whole Mill Creek Park used to be called Central Park.
So after thinking about the bridge and looking at it, I felt that a bride left at the altar has jumped off the bridge, not this exact bridge, but the one before this was rebuilt, and it was just a horrible sight. So I sent pictures of the bridge to two spiritualists, one in Kentucky, Elliot Brzezinski, and one in Australia, Melissa McLaughlin. So here's what they had to say about it. Here's what Elliot Brzezinski had to say about it in Kentucky.
Hey, Pat, I wanted to get back to you with my thoughts on the covered bridge. It's been there a long time. It's been rebuilt. There is a lot of history surrounding that bridge. During the time I looked at the bridge, and I was able to hear some wagon wheels crossing the bridge, churches and schools that had been nearby there would come there for things. There's an energy that exists around that bridge that predates the bridge being there. There's a somewhat negative entity that hangs around that area, and I think it tries to instigate problems with people that cross the bridge. I don't get the sense that it's it's not that big of a problem at this point, but I think the construction of the bridge kind of tethered it there, as well as reconstruction of the bridge when it was built the second time. Again, there have been a lot of positive things that have happened there. Churches, schools, countless wedding pictures, people holding hands, first kisses, Very memory-filled location. And again, I think there was something significant energetically about that bridge and actually where that water is before the bridge was actually built there.
Now, here is Melissa McLaughlin from Australia, a very, very strong spiritualist. I just sent her a picture of the bridge and told her nothing about it. And this is what she had to say about it. She's very intuitive and world-renowned. So here's Melissa McLaughlin.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Melissa McLaughlin and I'm from Australia, and I am a spiritualist here in Australia. I've actually been asked to do a very short video for you all from a very dear friend of mine who is a renowned spiritualist in the United States. He is a master of the spiritual world. He is a gifted psychic. He is a spirit guide and a fantastic author. And his name is Pat Tushy. Now, Pat is currently doing some videos for Youngstown, and I have been provided with a photo of a bridge, and Pat has actually asked me to provide my opinion and what I pick up from the photo. Now, the photo in particular that Pat has shared with me is a photo of a bridge. Now, when I initially look at that photo, I'm automatically drawn to the ceiling of the bridge, especially like where the rafters are. I get great sadness when I actually look at the photo, and negativity as well. The first thing that comes to mind when I look at that photo is the words "end of life." Now, I picked up when I looked at that photo that there has been people who have ended their life pretty much on that bridge. I see people who have like hung themselves and committed suicide, and yeah, there's just so much great sadness on that bridge. Yeah, and that was one of the biggest. The biggest things that I sort of took when I when I first initially looked at that photo, because as I said, my eyes were instantly drawn to the roof section underneath the bridge, and yeah, there's just been a lot of lives that have actually been lost as a result. I also feel that bridge was used quite a bit, like I can sort of see the traffic going to and from over that bridge, so that bridge was used quite a bit by people and to take products, food. I can even see it being used for animals to cross over, and yeah, it's just an amazing bridge to look at. But as I said, when I first looked at that photo, that is automatically where I was initially when my eyes were drawn to, and again the words "end of life" came straight to mind. As I said, there's just great sadness on that bridge. Yeah, because as I said, there's a lot of lives has been lost as a result of that bridge.
Well, there you have it from Melissa McLaughlin, renowned spiritualist out of Australia, who has never seen any of these pictures before. Elliot has been in Youngstown and lived there many years ago. About the spirit world, there is no parameters. As I grow older, I realize the impact and experiences in my life come to repine my thoughts when I look at places I visited years later. As an older man, all the little bad feelings I got as a child, they now come to light, amplified to me, in the greater insight of what has become. I now look at places around Youngstown and see them as they were and not so much as what they have become. I do realize many things that I see around Youngstown have changed drastically, and that's just the way life is. So we will continue in our next episode too about Youngstown, and I guarantee you it will be as shocking as ever. So, have a good evening, and thanks for watching.